Harvey Weinstein's 2020 rape conviction is being overturned because he didn't get a fair trial. Now we're getting exclusive reaction from the foreman of the jury that convicted Weinstein in what was considered a pivotal moment of the Me Too era.
There's big reaction today to the bombshell news that Harvey Weinstein's sex abuse convictions in New York have been thrown out.
Breaking news, the New York Appeals Court overturns Harvey Weinstein's 2020 rape conviction.
Reporter Allison Hall spoke to Bernard Cody, who served as jury foreman at the trial and voted to convict.
When you saw the news this morning that Weinstein's conviction had been overturned, what did you think?
I was totally in shock,
Weinstein put his hand up her skirt during a meeting in his office in 2015. The model reported the incident to police, and to bolster the case against Weinstein, cops asked her to wear a wire during a follow-up meeting at this Manhattan hotel. The movie producer was recorded telling Ambra to watch him take a shower.
I'm going to take a shower. You sit there and have a drink. You must come here now.
No.
Please.
No, I don't want to.
I'm not doing anything with you.
Weinstein was not charged in that case.
Weinstein's still guilty.
A terrible decision.
You guys for tuning in. My name is Perfect. Thank you for watching the Perfect Timing Podcast and coming to the Perfect Timing Podcast studios. And today we're talking about the Harvey Weinstein conviction being overturned. A Harvey Weinstein conviction being overturned. I don't know if you heard about it, but Harvey Weinstein, Harvey Weinstein was the guy who a lot of people give his case was a lot of people give credit for starting off that movement that changed a lot of things in the country. And I want to hear about your comments. And I want to hear what you think about this in the comment section. A lot of people have said that they believe that Me Too went too far. A lot of people think that this conviction being overturned is one more obvious reason that Me Too and BLM were failed movements. But I'm gonna let you decide. I'm not giving my opinion on this, but I just want to present to you guys a couple things about the fact that Harvey Weinstein conviction was overturned, and give you a little bit of background and detailed context as to what took place.
At the landmark Me Too trial, prejudiced the ex-movie mogul with improper rulings, including a decision to let women testify about allegations that were not part of the case. Harvey Weinstein is, though, of course, he's in jail in Los Angeles after being convicted.
So what was read there was Harvey Weinstein's case was overturned by all-female review board, appellate court. They were all female judges. And basically what those judges said is that his rights were violated when, like the Bill Cosby trial, 3 individuals were allowed to testify against him without validating their claims, which means he did not have an opportunity to defend himself against those claims. Those claims were used to bolster what was said about him by the prosecution, and they acquired a guilty verdict, and it was overturned. I did not know the details to the Harvey Weinstein trial. I didn't know the details to this accusation, right? I think a lot of us took these accusations at face value, right? But I wanted to dig a little bit deeper as to what happened, especially when I heard these details, because it eerily reminded me of how and why Bill Cosby was convicted. Bill Cosby was given 3 separate trials. He was not convicted on the first 2 trials. Bill Cosby was convicted on the 3rd trial when the judge finally, because the jury could not come to a guilty verdict, the evidence did not amount to a guilty verdict in both trials, that Cosby intentionally had done something non-consensual to his accuser. 2 trials. The 3rd trial, the judge allowed testimony from 5 different women who testified to Cosby's behavior. On that 3rd trial, when the judge let in those 5 women, they were able to secure a guilty verdict, eerily similar to the Weinstein prosecution style, in which they brought in 3 accusers who had never presented to police, who had never had those stories validated, and moreover, more importantly, Harvey Weinstein never had a chance of his day in court to defend himself against those accusations. which is why you don't allow them in court. But let's get some more context from the video. This is the foreman in the Harvey Weinstein. This is the jury foreman who led the jury to a guilty verdict. Y'all let me know in the comments what you think. I'm reserving my opinion of this guy. I think that's best.
Served as jury foreman at the trial and voted to convict.
When you saw the news this morning that Weinstein's conviction had been overturned, what did you think?
I was totally in shock, because it took us a long time to come to that decision, and then for them to overturn it, it was totally shocking.
Weinstein was convicted of sexual offenses against two accusers, Jessica Mann and Mimi Haley. He was found not guilty of raping actress Annabella Sciorra. But three other accusers he was not charged with assaulting were also allowed to testify.
Now, the highest court in New York State today ruled that the trial judge made a mistake in allowing testimony that included, quote, uncharged, alleged prior sexual acts.
Actress Ashley Judd, whose accusations against Weinstein triggered the Me Too movement, hit out today.
This today is an act of institutional betrayal. And our institutions betray survivors of male sexual violence.
Arthur Idala represents Weinstein.
Do you think there will be a retrial?
That's up to the district attorney. He's got to assess his witnesses. We're ready to go.
Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg says, we will do everything in our power to retry this case. It's not expected Weinstein will be set free immediately from the prison in Rome, New York, where he's incarcerated. He was sentenced to 16 years in California for a separate rape conviction, although that case is also being appealed on the same grounds as New York.
Do you think that there's a world where Weinstein will walk free one day?
Yes, absolutely.
The case in LA is under appeal for the same reason. You now have two major precedents. You have a precedent in Philadelphia with the Bill Cosby case. You now have a precedent in New York with this Harvey Weinstein case. It's going to be very hard for an appellate court in California to uphold a conviction if the judge did the same thing in Los Angeles. I'm going to give you further context as to what happened in the Harvey Weinstein accusations in New York. Beyond this, beyond these three witnesses, what actually was he accused of? And a little more context. And then I want your opinion in the comments. I know this is a sticky topic, but I want to hear from you in the comments what you think. Because I know a lot of you haven't heard these details before. You just heard he was guilty and you believed it. And this is what I talked about when we did the story on TikTok. That TikTok is being banned because TikTok, like the Perfect Time podcast, presents to you stories that are counter narrative. And then I support them with facts and receipts. And it makes you ask yourself, what is happening in my country?
He says, no, it was consensual. And he wants to come back into the courtroom and have this team and whatever lawyers Mr. Weinstein wants to bring on, cross-examine her, fight her case. He wants to take the stand and say, look, through that situation, and he looked at them right in the eyes in that courtroom. But Harvey Weinstein has been very, very consistent. Mimi LA and I fooled around on, I forget what day of the week it was. She called me in the morning. This is her testimony. She called me in the morning and said, my friend's having a baby in California. Can you fly me out? He flew her out. She came back less than 10 days later. They went to dinner and they made love. And then years later, she said, well, the time we made love, that was consensual. But the 10 days before that, that wasn't consensual. And Harvey Weinstein says, no, it was consensual. And he wants to come back into the courtroom and have this team and whatever lawyers Mr. Weinstein wants to bring on, cross-examine her, fight her case. He wants to take the stand and say, look, yes, it happened. We never said it didn't happen, but I didn't sexually assault anybody.
That's huge. That's huge. I never knew that. A lot of you might be saying, Perfect, why are you doing this story? They don't like when we do this topic. But I did the work on the Bill Cosby. And this affects me as a man. I have male children in their 20s. Title IX and the Me Too and the climate that is set up for young men in America, it affects me. So I have to do this story no matter how risky it is, no matter about the opinions in the comment section. I wanted to present to you context like I did with Bill Cosby. I wanted to tell you what actually happened and you make up your own mind. Harvey Weinstein was charged for someone he was having a consensual sexual relationship with. Excuse me, similar to Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby was charged in a case where he was having a consensual sexual relationship. This lawyer just said that Harvey Weinstein maintained the entire time that I had sex with this woman and I continually had sex with this woman, but it was consensual. This woman testified that she flew out, spent time with him, 10 days later, went to dinner, made love. Then years later, just like with Cosby, over a decade later, she's able to recall in her memory that in that 10-day period, the first sexual encounter was not consensual. But the second subsequent sexual encounter, where they went to dinner and made love, that was consensual. And Harvey Weinstein was convicted and given 16 years because a woman he was in a consensual sexual relationship who he made love to, and she made love to him. After the accusations said over a decade later that one of the times when we had sex during our consensual relationship was not consensual. And they could not prove that in court by her testimony, so they had to bring in 3 other witnesses to say that we know we can't prove what happened, but he did this to other people, so you should find him guilty. Let me know in the comments what you think about the Harvey Weinstein trial being overturned. His lawyer said they're fighting and they're going to fight in LA. And the appeal in LA, this is what TikTok is all about. The appeal in LA is identical to the appeal in New York. So that means the appeal in New York sets up a precedent for the same thing that happened in Los Angeles. We'll be following this case. Y'all let me know in the comments what y'all think. My name is Perfect Side Podcast.